And we're back. But Jeremy looks
hello,
frozen. So
special days. What about now? My frozen. That's not a good start. I just said the Goss. I just said the Goss. I'm like, hopefully I don't have any problems. And my Wi-Fi's like, I want to get you right there. But one of the women
internet company wants paid every month. God.
One of the women's of Soonercast's birthday today, Mrs. Erin Goss. So,
yeah, she's 39 years young. Congratulations to Erin. And just
Lindsay's been 21 the last 10 years, so it's pretty exciting. So.
We won't say how many times, but no, congratulations to the missus. I did remember her birthday, so that's good. I did have that. I took her out to dinner tonight. So Goss officially not in the doghouse, although I am scooting into the pod late because yard maintenance was calling me, and so being the stereotypical dad that I am, I had to be on that. But we're glad we're here, and Sooner Nation, we know we are at DEFCON 3 because, by golly, we have an offensive lineman injury, and so the world is absolutely going to stop. So,
hey, and also too, before we get started, real quick, I forgot it was my wife's birthday on Monday. So if I don't say something, then she's probably going to. So happy birthday, Lynn. So I forgot how close our wife's birthdays were. So 21.
So now that we're both out of the doghouse, we can go to Bill Beatonbow's doghouse, and let's see who's in that, who needs to get out of that, and hopefully Michaela can be back on the field by the Georgia game. That's kind of what I'm hoping at.
Are you scared? It's not ever good to lose an offensive lineman, but don't you feel that we've built depth this year to where that's not as now, if you ask me, I'm where they say, okay, if we lost somebody on offensive line, what would hurt us the most? I'd probably said center.
Probably Fasusi and then Michaela, right?
Yeah.
Just because Fasusi's ceiling's so high.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm not too worried. I mean, we got some. Where did we get that center from out of the portal?
Yeah.
I mean, he can step in and hopefully get some snaps, but I don't think it's into the world by any means. So
and I think too, this fall they've been really careful with Fasusi. He hasn't practiced a whole lot, so that's pushed Foj out to play a lot of tackle, which means Ozida has played a lot. And between Ozida and EPL and Foj, there's really three people for two spots, and it doesn't take an absolute math wizard to think probably Ozida is probably going to slide in and play some center. And we've heard all these really, really good things about Noah Best, but we also know Bill Beatonbow's our coach, and Beatonbow's going to value experience first. But in the end, he'll play the best people. It'll be real interesting. I listened to Gabe and Teddy talk, and obviously Gabe is really plugged into the offensive line part. He's close with Bill. He's got lots of opinions on those sorts of things. And he really talked more, and he wouldn't comment on the injury thing because he actually knows what's going on, which if I got to go to practice and they told me not to say, I'm not going to say either. But at the same time, I read his non-comments to be this wasn't the 12-week end of the season thing that we first heard from Michaela. NACOS just came out and said 4 to 6 weeks. I've seen some 6 to 8 weeks. But again, do I think we can go win at Michigan with Caleb Netta, or Heath Ozida at center, or Noah Best at center? Yeah, I do.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like Nagy is, I give Nagy credit because forgot where I heard it from, but how all these college teams are trying to build their front office, like Oklahoma, we're the blueprint and it's Nagy. That's the whole reason for it. So, we built depth on the defensive side of the ball. We built depth on the offensive side of the ball, made it a lot of competition to where these injuries don't kill us like they used to. And I guess that's why I'm not as worried.
And don't you think, Jeremy, that this injury happening now, we're preparing right now for Michigan. We're preparing right now for Georgia. We're preparing right now for Texas, Ole Miss, the tough games that we have down the road. No offense to the Miners of UTEP, but we're not in game prep week right now. So those ones are getting more run against our ones. And you're going to play better defense. If you're playing center, are you going to play against people better than David Stone?
No.
I don't think so. You going to play against people better than Jackson? I don't think so.
No.
And so the reps they're getting now against those absolute dudes, that's invaluable long term. And again, does it stink? Yes. But look, we were going to find something to gripe about. At least we got something that's more free, right?
Mm-hmm.
A week or two ago, we were griping because Lloyd Avant was going to end up being our starting running back. And now everyone's kind of freaking out because, it comes out that Jonathan Hatton's running in full pads faster than, any other person his weight did in college football last year. And the closest person to that was Xavier Robinson, who's also in the backfield. So it just depends on what day of the week, which way the wind's blowing, what controversy comes across Sooner Nation. But again, if you're listening to this pod, you're one of those people who worries about that, just like Jeremy and I do. But again, it's going to be okay with that. Main thing is we do need to stay healthy. We don't need any more injury. We need Fasusi to get back. We need an offensive line to spend time together. But if this injury means that we've got 7 or 8 guys that we're comfortable with instead of 6 or 7, I think that's a positive thing come that grind we get in October and November.
Yeah, it's going to be, we're going to learn pretty dang quick. Going to the big house against Michigan is not ideal. I think if you knew the landscape the way it is now, I don't know how excited we'd be to be playing Michigan the second game. And we better enjoy it because we're not going to see games like this going forward. I don't think, if we're smart. I think everybody's kind of laid the blueprint what it takes to get to the playoffs, and it's not to play a tough non-conference schedule.
No, look at Indiana.
Yeah,
look at Notre Dame's schedule this whole year, and that's one reason I think unfortunately, we're not sponsored by FanDuel, but if we were, I would tell you to go ahead and put some money on Notre Dame making the playoff because they're not losing more than 2 games, guys.
Yeah.
Look at their schedule. But
how much longer can they let that? I watch that every year, and I'm just like, how much longer can we?
The answer to all your questions is money. And as long as Notre Dame draws the eyeballs they do, that's not going to change, and they're going to. So, and but I do think that brings up an interesting point, Jeremy, and something that week 4 Stephen's going to have, preseason Stephen's going to have to remind week 4, week 8, whatever week that is that we take a loss, Stephen. I'm not saying losses don't matter, but this is not the BCS era. You can win a national championship. Look at what Miami did getting to the national championship game from a lower seed in that playoff. It's about getting in the tournament. This is becoming a mini version of the NFL. We've got to be playing our best football when the playoff starts and you get hot and you go on a run. Jeremy and I are both big baseball fans. We both have our teams. I hate the Yankees right now. Love George Lombard. Hate Aaron Boone. Don't like Brian Cashman. Wish Jazz Chisholm would be shot in a rocket ship to the moon and never return. All those things are things I wish, but the Yankees got the pitch. They might get hot. They might win the whole thing. That's a little bit what's happening with college football now too, is you get to that tournament, you get to the playoff, you get hot, you win the whole thing. And if it means we take a lump because we played some people early on and we got some more experience as things go on, maybe that's a positive. I don't know. But it's a different world.
Well, we look at it this way. If we go 10-2, we're pretty much guaranteed into the playoffs, I think. You look at it, what would your losses be? Probably Texas and Georgia, if that's the case. But with our schedule going 10-2 again, just like last year, we lost to Texas and Ole Miss. One of them was a playoff team. So it's like 10-2, got us in, big wins on the road. So same kind of deal this year. It is just we'll go over the schedule and stuff next week. I know we talked about maybe doing it this week, but it'll be week 0 next week, so we can kind of dig into the schedule. But talking about Hatton again, did you hear how fast they clocked him running? Yeah. Well, I love it that Xavier Robinson said 22 miles per hour, and they corrected him and said
21.7.
21.7, yes. How dare him round up? But that's moving, so he's going to be like AD was, where everybody's just going to be drilling the seam. So people don't get upset if he's not like getting 15, 20 carries the first game or second game. Like, they're probably going to ease him into it just like they did Peterson. So I'm excited to see him. I really think he's going to be a special back for us, and we're deep at running back right now, I think. So.
Well, I mean, I was listening to Dusty Dvorak was on with Gabe and Teddy, and he was talking about just, the running game being a big part of why OU is going to be improved. And I mean, it's one of those things of if we're coming on here after that UTEP game, and whether it's Saturday or Sunday or maybe the next Wednesday when Jeremy and I are able to come back on and talk about it, if we struggle running the ball against UTEP, I'm going to be really, 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 really mad. And we've spent time, we've made changes. We went out and got Jason Witten. We went out and got good tight ends from the portal. Should be an improvement. We bring back the bulk of our offensive line. Go and get a starting tackle from the SEC. Should be an improvement. We go and get a running backs coach who's had success in college with running backs. No excuses. This is year 4 that Arbuckle has had John Mateer as his quarterback. Now, he was 3 of those as a starter. I know he was behind Cam Ward that one year in Washington State. But all that being said, it's no excuses. We have to go out and run the football. I expect that to happen. I want that to happen. But I'm not going to, I get accused of being a sunshine pumper. I'm not going to come and pump sunshine. I'm like, well, yeah, but guys, UTEP was loading the box. It's UTEP. We should be able to get in whatever we're going to get in and run the football at them, over them, and around them. It doesn't mean it's going to be Switzer-esque and we're going to drop half 100, run for 350. It'd be cool if we did, but we've got to be able to run the football. End of story.
Hey, you want to know what time of year it is? I just got to update on ESPN's an armadillo in his yard. That was breaking news on my came across on my watch. I saw shoots and kills. I'm like, oh my God, he killed somebody.
Yeah.
Then I realized it's an armadillo. So that's where we're at right now in sports. I'm sorry.
I do have an armadillo in my yard. So if anyone wants to come to Pryor Creek and shoot an armadillo, hit me up, soonercast@gmail.com.
Sorry, you saw me look down at my watch and go,
yeah, what the? That's the kind of breaking content you get here at Soonercast, boys and girls. Oh,
you remember when we had Jackson Arnold, though, and remember our first game, we put up like 40, 50 points. Everybody was going crazy, and they forgot that we turned them over like 5 times.
Yes.
And we were in the red zone. We were like, man, this offense is putting up points. I'm like, well, then we realized it wasn't necessarily offense. And then we played Houston and Tulane and probably should have lost to both of them. So I would, like Steve said, I would probably worry too if we come out against UTEP and we are sluggish, can't run the ball, can't overpower a UTEP team. It could be in trouble.
I don't want to take away from our minor preview. It's a major event. But UTEP was 2-10 last year. Okay. This isn't this isn't a glorious Texas Western program. Okay. This is UTEP. They're not very good. If you followed the bottom 10 on ESPN.com, they've been a constant part of that for years. So again, we should be able to do that. Defensively, Jeremy, I just want to again just really like the vibes of everything I'm hearing coming out. I saw a little deal with Cortland Guillory where they kind of were trying to bait him into a Cam Coleman conversation, and he was like the fish who nibbled but never would take a bite, and that's just somebody who's being coached right, and that's an exciting thing. That's an exciting thing for me.
Well, Sark went on. I think it was Cowherd, and he said that everybody's been giving him crap because Manning made such a horrible throw, and he's telling him the ball was tipped. That's why it was behind him like that. So I love it that's where we're at right now. Yeah. Like not admiring the catch. It's God, did Manning throw that bad of a pass?
Well, we said it.
I know we did too in our friend group. That was the first.
Cowherd was like, "Hey, did you hear on Soonercast that Dawson Downing were talking about that?"
Yeah. So, But no, and Venables is trying to like reel it back just a little bit. And he's like, we're not great yet. And I mean, he's not blind. He knows what.
Hey, speaking of national guys, did you see our boy Paul came out and said that Feinbaum said that we were the most likely team from the top 10 to not finish in the top 25. So that was pretty sweet of it.
So
I'm sure that will make that'll make some clips in the old pregame stuff coming in. So
I know Dusty went on there because of it. So
yeah,
I think to try to teach him a little bit about Oklahoma. But I'm trying not to get too like optimistic, just because your heart gets broken sometimes when you go into a season, something happens. But just all the signs, it's just the vibes around the program it's just a different feel, it seems like, this year. And it's like the defense, where do you see holes? If you want to know where we're at, like as a defense, I always look at guys that get drafted and go into the NFL. Kansas City is literally taking our Mason Thomas pretty much out of preseason games because they're worried he's going to get hurt.
Yeah.
They're like, he's the game changer right now in our defense. And same thing with Grayson Holton. Grayson Holton is absolutely killing in the preseason right now. So, but those are Venable guys. We used to say when he started going through his system, you'll notice it in the NFL. And I think we're starting to notice in the NFL. We'll see a lot with our Mason because they're saying with him, he's basically their next great edge rusher. So, and who'd we compare him to a lot? Benito. Yeah. And he's got that Benito look to him. So it's all signs are looking good, especially on the defensive side of the ball. One thing I'll mention, hearing good stuff about the wide receivers still. Trail Harris seems to be a full go now. Doesn't seem like he's dealing with any nagging injuries, which is very positive, because earlier in the offseason we were basically jumping off a cliff because we thought
that was a disaster a few weeks ago. If we would have been killing some time, not that we ever want you to think any of these pods are time killers. These are all us educating youth. But
enjoy the 30-minute ones, because once the season starts,
exactly. We're back to 52. But yes. But Trail Harris is a professional receiver. It's the guy who has done it at a high level. He knows what he's doing. It's a little bit like Omarion Harris coming in at tackle. They've done it at a higher level. So just the learning curve isn't there. Some whispers of some things I've heard that maybe you haven't heard talked about on a whole lot of other pods. I've heard, and this will be, you can aggregate this if you want, because we would love the publicity. But I've heard Bo Bentley's kind of struggled a little bit in fall camp, and which is fine. He's a freshman, but I have heard some rumblings that he's definitely QB3 right now, with Whit Neubauer, a pretty distant QB2, which is a little bit concerning, just for the fact of, I know it's a long, long time before next year, but the thought of who's going to be the quarterback in 27, is that going to be somebody who's on the staff? I don't ever think, no offense to Whit Neubauer, but I don't ever think OU fans would be comfortable with him going in with him as a presumed starter. I think we all kind of had anointed Bentley, but just if you're looking at far future stock, you might just kind of start thinking about maybe that's a transfer portal guy. Maybe they want to give Bentley another year. And it's not that I've heard it's just an athletics thing. I've heard he's just really had a hard time reading things. But again, it goes back to that defense he's playing is pretty good. And the guy's defensive coordinator on the other side is pretty good. And there's a lot of pressure on John Mateer to be really good this year. It doesn't mean they're not spending time with Bo, with the other guys, but there's a lot of emphasis on that A team. And so just wanted to throw that out there, of some whispers of some things that Jeremy and I hear occasionally. Maybe you don't hear everywhere else, but don't hit the panic button on Bo Bentley yet. We're not saying that, but some while the early returns on Hatton are really, really good, the early returns on Bentley are a little not that good, just to put it good. Someone that we do love hearing good things about, Shakota's own Elijah Thomas, hearing still nothing but positive. That's what I've heard. Same thing for you, Jeremy.
Yeah. And it sounds like you got Terrell Harris and Satanka that's kind of separating themselves with 1-2. Parker Livingston's going to be definitely in the mix. He's got that. Just like probably because he come from Texas, he reminds me so much of Shipley. It's ridiculous when he runs routes. It's just like I'm like, that is. I'd have taken Shipley back in the day if he wanted to transfer to Oklahoma.
I think sometimes it's just because he's big and wide, he's not slow. Okay,
yeah.
This guy's fast. He's a guy who can make big plays, and I think it's he's going to be an important part of it. But yeah, it seems like those four have kind of separated from the pack, and it's not that I think Manny Choice is still going to get some time.
I think Manny Choice gets some run. He's just not going to get in. You got to look at it. That's one reason I mentioned it. We got to have depth because you got to play into like whatever there's an injury happens. Like those guys got to be ready to come in because injuries happen in a season, and that's what's derailed some of our seasons in the past.
And Jeremy, having a real tight ends room, we're going to be able to run some 2 tight end personnel. We're going to be able to run some 3 tight end personnel from time to time, and that's going to cut the number of people who you can have out there at receiver. And but if we're able to have a functional offense, we're all going to get more snaps, and that's going to be a positive thing going forward. Going around, while we are worried about our offensive line, Texas is probably in a more precarious situation than us because while it does just sound like there's no tear for their tackle, it does sound like that he could be out up to 6 weeks as well. And so that would be the equivalent of like us losing Fasusi. So that's a big thing for them. And we all know Texas has a big early game against Ohio State. And you're like, why are we talking about Texas? Because we all think about Texas all the time, just like Texas thinks about Oklahoma all the time. Yeah. That's just how it works. We're going to mention Texas stuff on here because you want to hear it, because we want them to lose every game, but we also want to be the only team that can beat them too. So
especially that when anytime that Texas has something bad happen, you always want to mention it. So
yeah, it does.
That's just because they're the greatest team ever made, and that's all you hear.
Mel Kiper told me, Jeremy, 3 top 10 picks for Texas.
Yeah.
Right now,
say what you want. I mean, they got talent, so it is what it is. But I mean, it is. I'm so ready for Texas. I keep telling myself like, no way we're gonna get beat again. But then, who knows? We might have a Texas problem. So we'll see.
Actually, I had the conversation.
I go to Georgia before that.
I was having to choose. We're switching up hotels where we stay at OU, Texas, trying to change things up, trying to change the mojo again. And while I'm peeing and moaning about not going, we all know I'll go. And we all know I'll be pumped up and pick us to win the week before. But if we sink and lose again, I'm not sure I can take it. But next week, Jeremy and I will go through and pick those schedules. But if you are where you are, if you're driving in your car, if you're mowing your grass, if you're whatever you're doing as you listen to us right now, if the worst thing that happens to us right now is Jake Michael is out for 4 to 6 weeks, we've had a pretty good preseason. We've got Brent Venables, who's defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
You've got lots of starters back on defense. You got lots of starters back on offense. You've got an improved skill position. You got the best kicker in the country, and you've got a podcast hosted by Jeremy and I. What more could you need as a student fan?
Hey, but if you're listening to us, you might as well go ahead and subscribe to us as well. So let's get our subscriber numbers up. Like we said before last pod, we're getting into busy season. So it is going to be every week. And we are going to be putting out some good ones. Hopefully we don't ever have to do any Doom pods this season.
Speaking of subscriber numbers going down, Jeremy shared this in our group chat. But let's talk a little Sooner Hoops before we sign off. Big Get, the center from Villanova. So that's a good thing. We're happy to see that. Duke Brennan, which is just an amazing name. Kind of, if you're wondering what he looks like, he's a guy who kind of looked like Drago, who played for Villanova last year. So if you watched any college hoops, that's a good thing. Got got another good guard earlier this week. So this 5th year thing, everyone's getting somebody, but at least we're not on the outside looking in. So there, I will say one more thing on the 5th year thing before I sign out. I did have somebody reach out to me and say, when the Michaela thing happened, well, maybe we'll go get another guy, one of these like centers who doesn't make a schedule and that sort of thing. OU's roster is full. The kid we got from Arkansas was the last person that we can take. So our roster is full. So there won't be that's not going to happen. So if you know a workaround around that, you work for OU compliance, something like that, soonercast@gmail.com. Jeremy and I got a direct line to Nagy and BV. So we'll let them know. But just soonercast@gmail.com. We're glad you're listening. Have a great week. Boomer.
Boomer Center.